Good morning, my dogs. This one is for the patrons this week. It's me and Jody. Two podcasts this week. And like we always say, better every day. And this week we're probably the best version of ourselves since 2 years, podcast-wise.
And they say miracles do not happen, but we're living proof that you can get 2 podcasts out, or we can get 2 podcasts out in 1 week.
That is crazy. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, wow, I want to support these boys, head down to the link in the description. There's a Patreon link, and you can sign us up, and then we can make more content. Well,
and we need them dollars, mate. Them GT3s aren't going to pay for themselves, are they?
No, but we have got something, because we had a little discussion with the Patreons yesterday. Well, I had a little discussion. And we've got a new, Joe, I've got a couple of cool ideas for the upcoming time. So cool stuff coming. Anyway, let's start off. Highs and lows, mate. I saw Jody not racing IRONMAN Florida. C'est la vie. We had a chat on the day. Can you talk us through what happened?
So basically, what happened was, I'll go back to Friday as well, because there's been a bit of a nightmare actually as well, because Laura's been ill. But basically, it all started on Friday. So Laura was feeding Arabella, and I was getting the bike ready. I was going to do a session on Zwift, and she's like, "Oh, she's bit me. And I'm like, "What?" She went, "Oh, come and have a look. I was like, "Oh no, I can't. I've just got the bike ready. I'm now about to start. I'll see it in a bit." Anyway, I didn't think anything of it.
But were you so flipping ready that you couldn't even for a second look at her vampire bite?
Well, it wasn't like she was in ridiculous pain. She just was there was marks there. I guess
How bad was the bite? Was it in the skin or?
Well, it must have been bad enough to kind of for it to get infected, but I'll get onto that later. And then so that was on Friday. So then Sunday, 2 days later, it was in the morning. Powerful pensioner was round, and we were going to go for a bike ride. My bike had all been packed up. Everything for Florida was all sorted. I had the flights, the accommodation obviously all sorted, the hire car, we're getting the train to the airport, literally having a holiday afterwards as well. So we booked all that up because Laura and Arabella were coming. So it was everything was all sorted. And then I thought Phil was round. We were doing the last bike ride because Monday I was getting the train down to the airport. I was making him a cup of coffee, and then Laura was upstairs as well. It was in the morning. I was trying to tell him a story, and then I just couldn't talk. I knew what I wanted to say, but I just couldn't. The words just weren't coming out properly. They just sounded really, really weird.
How did you notice it in your head? Could you think I want to say this, but my mouth doesn't work, or?
Yeah, and I thought I was saying it, but it just wouldn't come out right.
That it was just flipping scary. You were just mumbling like a baby.
You just sounded like it was just completely incoherent, there was just no way you could make sense of anything.
What did the pensioner do?
I don't know. I think he probably wondered whether or not it was his ears playing up, whether or not it was my voice, or anything. God knows what he thought. But I know Laura was Laura was on the phone to the ambulance, and then I sat down because I think I tried to say. But
Laura,
not right.
Laura was upstairs, right?
No, because at this point this is on the Sunday, so we were all there together.
All right, so Laura was downstairs when this happened.
Well, yeah, it was upstairs, but we were all there. We were all together. It was one big happy family with Granddad there as well.
I know, but you're in the kitchen. The pensioner's not doing anything. How all of a sudden can Laura be downstairs and calling the ambulance? I think someone must have shouted. Or what? Well,
no, because we're all on the same floor. We're all our kitchen's on the first floor, it's not on the ground floor.
All right, when you said upstairs, I thought on another level.
No, so we're all on the same floor. We're literally so we sat down. They sat down. I'm bringing a coffee in. They started drinking it because I was making mine after theirs. I tried to tell a story and I couldn't. I was totally incoherent. And then Laura was ringing the ambulance, and then they asked her
because she immediately saw this isn't right.
Yeah, I think she thought I was having a stroke. And then so she started ringing the ambulance. and they asked like some stuff because you don't know if it's going to get any worse. Like it could potentially get worse. And then they asked her, can you do certain movement things? And I could do all that. So there was nothing like stopping that, because some people, when they have it, like part of their face is like paralyzed, isn't it? And stuff like that.
Yeah,
So there was
yeah.
nothing physical. So that was all good. And then my voice came back because I tried talking again, because I was a bit worried about trying to talk, because I'm like, bloody hell, like nothing's coming out. And I
Mm-hmm.
spoke, and then it was fine. And I was like, oh my God, that was strange. And
Yeah.
then you'll laugh at this
Fucking
next
hell,
bit.
that's scary.
Yeah, I know. And then you'll laugh at this next bit. So like Laura was like to the ambulance, it's fine. I'll take him into the hospital in a bit. 'Cause, like apparently you've got like 4 hours to get there if it is. And I was like, I'm going to go out for a bike ride now then, because I feel fine. Like it was just my voice that went, like everything's fine. She's like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I'm like, and I'm like, no, I think it's fine now. Like Phil, she was like, well, don't go too far away from home in case anything happens. And then she's ringing up her friend who's a doctor as well to like speak to him, I think, to get a second opinion. And while she's on the phone to him, I was downstairs then, like, so then I was like getting my cycling like shoes on. Phil was ready to go, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt a bit dizzy. And then I sat down on the stairs, and she's on the phone to the person. And then I was like trying to think what his name was. My memory
Phil's
was
name.
gone. Yeah. And I was like looking at him. I said, I don't even know what his name is. Like, what is his name? Like to Laura. And she said, they were like, what? You don't know what his name is? Try and have a think about it. I said, I ain't got a clue. What is your name?
Wow,
Like,
this is
I
freaking scary,
couldn't think of
man.
his name. And then so Laura was then like, well, okay, it's Phil. And then she was asking me other stuff. What did you have for dinner last night? And I knew I
But did
had
you,
like
when she was
veg.
like, "It's Phil," were you like, "Oh right, yeah, Phil"?
I think so. I think it kind of brought it back, but it was like you were just trying so hard to think, and you just got no idea. Like
Wow.
it's like you're trying to think of someone's name who you've seen once before years ago, so you know him. Like I knew I
Mm-hmm.
recognized him, but I'm like trying to think, what's his name? What's his name? And I couldn't think. And then there was loads of things basically she was testing me on. Memory was like absolutely terrible. It had completely gone. Like I couldn't remember what I had, like the meat, pork. I couldn't remember certain friends, like I just like, cause she was like, what's
Oh
so and
my
so's
god.
partner? Couldn't think of any of it. And I said to her, I think I need to go to hospital. And then she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
then then I went to hospital, and then like basically when I got there, then they like put me in a CT scanner, did loads of like tests, and then I had to stay the night, and then get an MRI scan the next day, and speak. And then the doctor came and spoke to me, and obviously that like came back all good. And he said he thinks it's basically caused by migraines. Like I'd never heard of this before. That since I posted something up yesterday, so many people have messaged me saying they've had the same things. I mean, I've got one more test to do, like where like just to fully like make sure it isn't something
Mm-hmm.
dodgy. Like, and then if that comes back like positive, then you can pretty much say it's due to migraines. It seems like a lot of people have had this. Like, I thought it was quite rare. Well, very
And you
rare,
would
because
say,
I'd never heard.
and they said the migraine was coming from stress, right? Because you had quite some stress the day before, the couple
It
of days
could be.
before.
It
Yeah,
could be, but like it can be brought on from stress, like other stuff, like people have said, like
but mate,
dehydration.
you're such a damn stubborn farmer from up north. Um, if I was in my living room and at some point I couldn't even flip and talk anymore, I wouldn't say like, anyway, it's back now. I'm going out on a ride. Like flipping out. You need to be
Yeah, but
a
you're
bit
like in the
kind of.
zone, aren't you?
Yes,
Like
I
you're
know. I know
thinking,
I know you're in the zone, and I
like,
know you don't want to believe anything like this won't happen to me, and I need to get my training done. But flipping hell, mate, when you said this to me, I find it like scary as anything. Like
I
health
mean,
is so important, isn't it?
yeah, but the thing is,
And
like the mindset at the time when something like, I mean, now looking back, you would be like, yeah, that would be crazy to go out on a bike ride. But when you think about the mindset you're in, when you've got an Ironman coming up,
I
you
know.
want to win it. You're like, you don't think of anything else,
No,
do
no,
you?
but
You,
that isn't normal, Joe. I mean,
I know it's not
that's a
normal.
champ is a champion's mindset, but that's why I'm not a champion. But I would not think Yes, that's 100% what it is. That's the difference between uh, uh, putting everything aside for training and want to be one of the very, very best in the world. And because it wouldn't even come up in my mind to think I'm just going to do the training anyway,
Well,
you
yeah, at
know?
my point, it was like in my mind, it was like it wasn't even coming up in my mind that I wasn't going to do it. Like until I felt dizzy, and then I couldn't have any memory, and then I
Yeah.
was like, actually, I feel really dizzy. I don't even know if I'd fall off a bike if I was doing this. Like, yeah, this definitely isn't normal. And then I was like, then I knew, yeah, definitely need to go to the hospital. But like, I mean, looking now, like it would be crazy. It would have been crazy to go out on the bike. But like,
Well, luckily, the CT scan and MRI both said it was all right, and hopefully the last test will come in as a negative, and thus you're healthy as well. But it does make you realize um, how fragile life is and how much for granted you can't take that it to be able to be fit. You know?
I know, and yeah, it's absolutely crazy, isn't it? Because like, I thought I was having a stroke. I thought, bloody hell, because you always think like you're not going to be one of them people, don't you? You know, it's not going to happen to
Hmm.
me. And I don't really have any of the like signs, thing. I don't really do any of the things that could, that you'd expect someone to do. Don't drink loads, not like quite old, like 50s, 60s, like where you
Hmm.
got more chance of it happening. Don't smoke, active lifestyle, and it can just happen to literally anyone, you never know. Um,
Yeah,
but then also,
yeah,
like I said,
hundred
I said to
percent,
you about the
hundred
bite on the
percent.
Friday. So
And now the
I
upcoming
then came
days,
out of the hospital
what?
on Monday, and then things really, then things materialized because I came out, and then we came home, and then at this point, I was speaking to you, weren't I? And I said, I'm going to do Cozumel, like
Mate, and
Florida's out. I'm going to do Cozumel.
you no, you messaged me. You said, "Hey, mate, I'm not doing Florida. I'm doing Cozumel." And then you called me. And I said, "Why?" You said, "Well, this
Yeah,
morning I woke up. I couldn't speak to Phil. I didn't remember his name, and I went to the hospital all day. But I'm doing Cozumel." And I
yeah.
said to you, "Mate, maybe first like wait a little bit, maybe take a break, or like I don't
No,
know."
you were like, oh, you were like, well up for it. You were like,
No,
yeah, I'll have a bit of
no.
that.
I said very clearly at the end of I said maybe you should wait a little bit till all the results are in and then contemplate your mind. I would have found it really, of course, fun and nice. But I said you should be contemplating whether this is
I
whether you,
I think you were well up for it. You were like, yeah, let's go, like dream team, like Mexican beach holiday. Here we come,
I was not egging you
rumble
on
in
to come.
Mexico, and then I went for a swim on Monday. Like I say, swim. We basically took Arabella, and I kind of went there, and
Hmm.
I did a few lems. I did about like 6 lems, and I said to Techno because he was there. I said, I'm not going to do Cozumel. I'm going to finish my season because my head wasn't really in it. I
Yeah.
was like, I can't even train properly at the moment. If this has happened, maybe it's just a sign that you need to rest. So I said to Laura, I'm not going to do it. As soon as we get the tests back, let's go on
Hmm.
holiday. And she was like, yeah, all right. And then she started feeling worse and worse. Because she was swimming there, and she was like, oh, I feel really cold, like and everything.
Yeah.
And then she got home, she had a fever, and she was like really bad. And then took some antibiotics, and then the next day she was like really, really bad, like bed bound. Ended up going to the hospital to get IV antibiotics. Turns out she's got cellulitis from a bite that Arabella did on her, and she's been in a right state in the hospital a couple of times to get some IV antibiotics. Yeah, and then so I was on like daddy daycare when I came out, looking after Arabella and stuff, and it was just carnage, mate. One of us goes down, then the other one goes down. And I mean, people would think that we've got a membership or something at the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital, but like this is
Yeah.
like that was the first night I'd ever spent in hospital in my life. Like never spent a night in hospital before. Um,
I've once spent a night in hospital. That was in Kona, 2018, on an intensive care that I didn't make it to the finish line because I heat stroked. That's why I'm probably doing it different in Cozumel. I'm the king of the heat.
and you know what? Yeah, with your heat prep, mate, training in like 8 degrees and rain, like God, heat prep, like you're going to be flying, aren't you? In that. A couple of stories when I was in the hospital as well. So like when they wanted to move me from like A&E to like the ward where I was like staying, the
Yeah.
porter comes in and he's got a wheelchair and he's like, "Are you ready? I'm ready to take you." I said, "All right, mate, I can walk. Like I'm fine." He said, "No, no, no, no. We need to get you in the wheelchair. It's much easier for us." I said, "Nah, nah, it's fine. I'll walk. I'm all right." He said, "No, no, a lot easier if we do that." So basically, he wanted me to like go in the wheelchair. and I felt like such a fraud. Like I could walk around and stuff like that, and I'm getting like pushed around in the wheelchair around the hospital. People must have thought, "Wow, look at that poor lad," like he's like getting wheel. um, and then oh yeah, and then the hot. I will say as well, and this isn't even a joke, that the hospital bed that I was sleeping in was a lot more comfortable than an Airbnb that me and Laura stayed on the way back from Nice. When we made it a bit of a road trip back, we stayed at a few places, and one of the places was so hot it was unreal. They said they had aircon, they didn't. It was boiling. It was like 28 degrees in the room. With them really hot, humid places, you get 28 degrees,
Yeah.
no aircon, you're sweating, you can't escape it. The bed was like too small, so you literally like got no room. Baby was like crying. Honestly, the A&E bed or the bed that I slept at in hospital was so much. I had such a nice sleep compared to that Airbnb. So, I would have rather slept in hospital and stayed the night there
But
than
now,
that Airbnb.
yeah, but now you're comparing like probably the worst flipping Airbnb in France that has shit Wi-Fi and coffee as
No, it
well.
had good, it had good Wi-Fi, mate. It had good Wi-Fi there as well.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
the only highlight was they made us breakfast in the morning. They had like their own like honey from the region and stuff like that. That made it up. But
But
you felt so tired that you couldn't do anything.
summing up this whole story, you ending the season here, I think it's smart. Although you can still come along with Laura to Cozumel
I've
and
got a
cheer me
last minute
on.
flight booked to Florida to cheer everyone on and do the beer mile tonight, 8 p.m. Like no,
Are you?
honestly, literally, I've got to head to the airport after this
Why?
because we're gonna fly out and watch the race.
Are you for real?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gonna go out there, mate. You got to keep the beer mile tradition up.
No, but are you honestly for real, or because I've had people
No,
messaging where it is? All right, yeah,
no,
because
no. I
they
would.
get in
I
their hopes
wish,
up now.
but if someone
You
does, if
can't.
someone
You
does,
can. Shall we quickly make a? You can never make a joke about the location and go into a race and not doing the beer mile. That's not a joke, Joe.
yeah, I know. I would love to go out there, but we need to get someone to do the beer mile on our behalf, don't we? Like if
Yeah,
we're not there.
yeah. Yeah, we should. If there's some volunteers, let us know. But anyway, long story short, Joe, health is just very, very important. For me, it's about a year ago that I was in the flipping gutter. So it doesn't matter whether it's physical health or mental health or just whatever, it just makes you realize to not take anything for granted. And that's also one of the reasons that maybe I'm not in the best shape, but I'm going to Cozumel. I'm going to have a cracker of a race. And yeah, because you never know how life's going to go. And also, it's just a privilege to be fit.
And a downstream swim doesn't do any harm as well,
A
does it?
downstream swim, Mexican rules on the bike. I've got a new,
Yeah.
by the way, I've got a race tactician for me.
Who's that?
Who do you
Is that
reckon?
Tom? It's got to be Tom Decker, isn't it?
No, he's my nutritionist. No, it's Yuri Cullen. But
Yuri Coolen. Oh, mate.
I've heard in the,
You're going to be so fresh when you start the run. It's going to be unbelievable, mate.
no, I've heard so many stories about Mexico that people are drafting the shit in that race. And for a change, I wouldn't be the one that's complaining.
Yeah, I
No,
know. Can
I'm
you get
still
me
riding. No, I won't be riding
Yuri's?
on someone's wheel.
Can you get
Sorry?
me Yuri's number as well, so I can get some sessions in before Oceanside? I want to have legs like diamonds on that race off the bike, and I think he's the man. He can forget all this like getting a bike position, saving 30 watts, training hard over winter, saving 15. Sign Yuri Kulin as your race tactician, save 100 watts, sitting 2 meters behind someone. Now, where can you get gains like that in 5 months?
You can't. You can't. Um, anyway, I've got a little high as well, Jody. Remember that I said on the podcast that I was doing a 33K trail run.
Yeah.
So you had the how do you call it? Like where all the elites going in that little race area. They always start up first, don't they? I don't even know what's it called in
What, they
English.
had a little elite area for this trail run?
Exactly.
I thought this
Yeah.
was just like a little local race.
There's still like 300 competitors for the 33K trail. So all the serious athletes went in there, and then I went
Did you
with my
go in
mate.
there then? Did you
No,
go
I
in
did
there?
not, because I thought. Do you know what the funny thing was? So you had these. That's some typical things about trail runners. So either you've got these lads, compression socks till their thighs, shorts, 16 vest, a million gels and then doing like a 10K 8-minute mile in. Or you've got these trail runners with like a mustache, a flamingo shirt, then no gels, no nutrition, and doing a 33K trail with 600 meters of elevation. And I'm thinking, I know what's going to happen. You guys are all going to bonk. You've got aid stations, but you've only got water and bananas. It's not like
Is
you're
that all
going
they
to,
have at the aid stations? No
yeah, like
gels or anything?
water. No. It was a real cool event. So I had the plan
You're
to
saying it
run.
was a cool event because you took some gels with you, but for
Yeah,
anyone that had no nutrition with them, they were fucked because like a
you'll be
banana,
going to
if
the K hole.
if you're in the K hole, you're on the brink of like a bonk. A banana's not going to get you to come round, is it? If you still got 15K left or 10K left.
Exactly. So basically, gun went off. All serious athletes went. We went short after that. And for the first 10Ks, I ran with my mate. So it was about 5:30K pace, something like that. Some a bit slower, some a little bit quicker, but it wasn't really fast. I think the first 10K in 54 minutes. And then my mate was like, "Oh, I'm cramping up. I need to go. I need to let you go." And I thought, like, all right, I'll do the last 20Ks tempo. So I took one of these pre-workout shots that I've been working on, and then basically shitload of caffeine and some extra. Um, and then I ran the rest like about 4:15 to 4:30, some a bit quicker K pace, but it was like up and down. It was a flipping horrific trail, mate.
Mate, you don't have to justify it to me. I saw your videos, mate. I saw it. You couldn't even see what way you were going. It was
It was
like running
crazy,
through a
wasn't it?
wood.
I was feeling pretty good, especially because I've only been running like 25Ks a week, and I had really good legs. So I thought like, all right, there's still a decent base in the legs. I was catching up a shitload of people, and then at some point I could see like a group of 5 people in front of me, but I knew I was heading towards the front of the race. And I could see them all running pretty strong. Was these guys with the flamingo shirts and no nutrition? But as of K 25, 26, they all popped. They all popped cramps and that kind of stuff.
So
You know what I mean?
what they?
They popped because they had no nutrition. So cramps, they had to stop, walk, run, walk. It's just I don't know. I don't understand how you can be so stupid because a 33K trail is still I did it in 2 hours 29 or 2 hours 30. It's still 2.5 hours, of grim and especially uphill. It's quite a lot of
How
energy.
much climbing was there in the whole thing?
600 meters.
Oh, right. Decent amount. That's quite a lot then in 33K, isn't it?
Yeah, that is shitload. So if you've got no nutrition and no water,
I
well,
thought
good
Holland
luck.
was flat.
Some areas is not. This is
Where
near
was
the
this then?
German Nijmegen, near the German border. Yeah,
Flipping heck. So you ventured out, didn't you, for this? Like,
yeah,
you had
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah.
How long did this take you to get there? Like an hour and a half?
Yeah, hour and a half.
Bloody hell. And then you're
Yeah,
running up and down mountains, like you're biking in the wind. When I see your training at the moment, it kind of reminds me of like Rocky Balboa, like you've got like that, what's his name, the Russian, who's training all scientific and everything, and he's like in
the
everything's
Eva.
precise.
You've got this. Yeah, the Norwegians, the Eva Dragovic or
The
something.
Drago, that's the one, yeah. And then you've got you battling away, wind, rain. You're running on the trails, aren't you? Hoping your
Did
best, and
you
then you're going to get to Cozumel and see what happens.
did you see that ride that I did today? So it was wind force 7. It was piss and rain, and I did like a 2 hours up north, so a little bit with like a tailwind, massive tailwind, and I did like I wanted to do like a bit above race pace. Um,
How did you get home from that before you say
with
it? Because I saw
with
you
the,
did like a point to point. It was like 80K or something.
yeah, with the train, but I was flipping freezing, mate, absolutely freezing.
Really? So did you
Yeah,
look at the weather and you and your mate, because there was 2 of you, and you thought, this is going to be grim. So let's do it with the wind pushing us, and then we'll just get the
yeah.
train back because it's going to
I
be
thought
grim riding into a headwind like
exactly. I
that.
thought this is going to be flipping grim, so I wanted to make it fun, and I wanted to ride on a TT bike, but the wind was too grim to ride like a loop on the TT bike because
Well,
if you
I
get
saw on Strava, it said it was 40 kilometers an hour.
yeah,
Like, so that would be, and
yeah,
that's like without the gusts, isn't it? That's just a constant 40Ks just bloody nailing you.
blowing away. But I was surprised that actually I didn't find the speed that crazy because the average was 43 k's an hour. But there's a lot of
Don't worry,
steps as
mate.
well.
Yuri Kulin will sort that out for you on race day. You've got nothing to worry about. You
But it
ain't
was
even going to need to touch the pedals, mate, in Cozumel. So don't fucking worry. Just make sure your bike works and you'll be good to go.
What? But that video looked pretty grim, didn't it?
Yeah,
Why
like it
would you
definitely
would
looked.
you would you go out on rides like this? It's not always the sun doesn't always shine in Norwich. It must be
Oh,
flipping
it was
windy up there
grim. Like
now.
I flip and hate it. I'm got a bit soft though. I tend to go on Zwift a bit too much now, but I know what you mean. It is flipping grim, and that does sound quite fun. Like picking somewhere 100 k's. The only problem is the trains that we have here are shit. So I'd end up taking me like longer to get home than it would to ride. Like
Oh
how
no,
long did it
that's
take
not
you to get home?
75 minutes.
Did it? So it was a
Yeah.
decent amount of time. So you kind.
But I was completely drenched and I was so flipping cold, mate. And normally, the weather app said that there was no rain, flipping pissing rain, like absolutely crazy.
Oh
But
yeah, it
yeah,
looks horrible.
2 hours, 290 normalized. That is Rasmus Swenningsen, mate. That is the Terminator style.
Sometimes, like when I look outside the weather and I see it, and it's like absolutely grim. Like today, it was grim here. It was like pissing it
Yeah.
down, and it's like horrible. And I'm thinking, I could live anywhere in the world. Like, why the fuck am I living here in the middle of winter? Like, do you think that? Like, why do I live in Norwich in the winter when it's like flipping? It's pissing it down. It gets grey. It's horrible. And I said to Laura, like, why do we even stay here for the winter? Like, I mean, the summers are great, aren't they? Like, it's daylight for so
That's all right.
long. It's like nice and warm.
I can tell you this because I thought about this when I was in Girona. There's a couple of things. One thing is I do think it builds character. If you train in
I
weather
don't
like
want
this,
character. I want an easy life.
it builds character. Because if you look, if we are going to look at the race next week in Cozumel, probably 40% will pull out of that race, or 30%, something like that.
And you'll be like,
Um,
I'm not pulling out because it's sunny for a change. I've trained in the hard. I'm going to put myself in a hospital if I have to because I'm going to enjoy the sun, even if
don't
I
say
feel
that.
like it's
Don't say
cooking
that.
me.
But also because I like the social aspect and the friends around me. And when I move to Girona, that life will be completely different. And that's not a life that would suit me.
Yeah, but you'd meet other friends, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but
Your friends aren't just in one
but
area, are they?
I would be dreaming, sleeping, talking, FTP, threshold, and carbon wheels all day, all night with all the triathletes in Girona and cyclists. And I don't want that. I just want something else in my life as well. There's also more to triathlon, more in life than just triathlon.
The
Yeah.
weather, mate. I know the weather though. Like I just find this weather so depressing, mate. Like, and we're not even in January yet. Wait until it gets to January, and you'll be saying, "Fuck it, I'll talk carbon wheels and bloody FTPs." I've had
I'll talk
it.
FTPs for a month.
I'll talk FTPs for 2 months. Get me out of here. Sign me up.
But what we did in the past, in the last couple of years, is we always went away in the winter a couple of times, and that breaks it up a little bit
That was
because if
fine doing that, wasn't it?
I
Like I
know,
actually, because I remember us going away. We went to Malaga for 3 weeks in December, didn't we? And then we went away in February. And
yeah,
that winter felt like nothing to me. Like you got
no,
Christmas out the way. We did like what 3-4 weeks, and then we were away for 3 weeks in
yeah,
Girona. Came back, and the end of the winter was nearly there, wasn't it? That was like
exactly.
spot on. That
Because now I'm playing with the idea to so I've got Cozumel, then I'll stay there for a little holiday, then I'll come back, and this at the beginning of December I'm going to do a cooking course with my dad in Italy.
oh great! You can cook for us on training camp then. Now I'm
I
liking the sound of
always
this, mate.
I always do, and then
Instead of talking FTPs, we'll just talk to you about a shopping list. Here's the shopping list. Anything, don't forget it.
no, but in at the end of January, so it will probably just be 7 grim weeks in December. I'm thinking about going to New Zealand again and doing Wanaka and Taupo.
Oh, I'd love to do that. If that was on the Ironman Pro Series, I would have been
Yeah,
all over that. Like I really enjoyed that last time.
I really enjoyed that, and Carl Smith invited me for his squad.
What squad?
So I don't know.
I guess I guess my invite must have been left in the post, Kyle. Like it's all right. I'm sure it will come at some in the next day or two.
he said the dog squad.
Yeah, I guess mine will come sometime. I'll have to ask that, chase that out with the postman. Like, did you get a letter from New Zealand? Like, it was meant to have been here like a couple of days ago. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe
Anyway,
it came while I was in hospital.
I quickly want to talk about something else, Joe, that I saw on Instagram, and I was like, flipping hell, what is this? I saw Jody Skipper is offering subscriptions. It's like an OnlyFans on Instagram. What the
Oh,
hell are you
mate.
up to, mate?
I
You
don't know, mate. Like I was, it was while I was laying on the hospital bed. You know, I saw that. I like was on. I was on the depths of Instagram, scrolling around other people's, and
You're
I came across
thinking
someone else. I came across
subscriptions.
someone
I'll
else
have a
that did
little
this
bit of that.
subscription thing. Yeah, I thought subscriptions. I thought, let me get a bit of that. We're always getting content out with Triathlon Mockery. I'm sure I could do the same on mine.
But
Like,
what do you post on there?
I
Like
don't know. I
yourself
haven't posted
pictures in
anything.
mirrors in tight lycra, or what? What?
I don't know, mate.
Yeah.
I just like take a picture in tight lycra in front of the mirror, and think that'll do. Like, oh, Laura, does my ass look good in this? Can you get a picture of that? Like, no, I haven't really got
Is
anything
this like
yet.
an
Like,
OnlyFans or what? What was
mate, I
this?
don't know. I haven't posted anything on there yet. I haven't done anything. The subscription's not got anything on there. I don't know what I'm supposed to. I need tips. I need to know. I heard
That
yours
would
was going well, so
that
I just
would be
wanted to.
that would
I heard
be
your.
that would be a flipping low, mate. If you would do that for $2 a month.
Depends on it, mate. I might have to. If there's the best stuff, I can put anything. You can charge up to £100 a month. So the world is my oyster. But I haven't posted anything on there. To be honest, I might even take it off. I don't even know what I'd even post on there. Like I know you're laughing because you're thinking I can imagine what you're on.
Yeah, yeah.
I know what you could post on there, but I'm not going to post that on there.
I know
Not for
what you do.
£2.50 a month. I want at least £5.
For how much a month would you need? Like 2 grand a month?
I don't know, mate. Like probably more than that. Like I never
Probably
even
you're
thought.
even contemplating it.
I'm not contemplating it. Like everyone has their price, mate. I'm sure if I offered you a certain amount of money, you'd have your price.
I know, but it would be 2 grand a month. You've set yours very, very low.
Oh, you got to get people hooked, haven't you, at first before you start adding the price
Anyway,
increases.
Joe, you're right. You have to can Florida. You've got to pay the rent, and you've got to make it somehow. And
Got to make a living, mate. I'm like nearly on a walking stick. Like
exactly.
I've got to look
I've
spread
got
my wings.
a new segment, Joe, that I want to introduce to the podcast. I want to call it the age group advice of the week. Because sometimes when I scroll down, I see a post on Instagram, and if you look at the comments, you can see someone's advice, and I'm thinking, where did they read this? I just think it's so funny that I want to see what your opinion is on this. So this was a post about nutrition, and then an age grouper is saying, here is the rule of thumb. kg is grams, meaning that if you're 70 kg, you should take about 70 grams an hour of carbs.
And he's saying this for while you're doing sport. So basically, you weigh yourself, and that's how many grams of carbs you should do.
Yeah.
Well, that's bollocks, isn't it? That would mean that I would have like this is in a race, 78, 79 grams of carbs an hour. Like that, and it also depends on the person, doesn't it? Some people would have that. Some people I have like 120. I think if I had 78, I'd probably bonk, to be honest, in an Ironman.
Yes, I
Like
would bonk.
I would hit the wall. Like, yeah, that's just a completely random
Made up
thing, and it does not even applicable for training, is it? Like on most training sessions, you probably have less than that anyway, don't you? When you're going steady.
Yeah, and what if you're like 74.8 kilograms? How are you going to take 74.8 grams
Just
of
got to
carbs?
make sure
It's really,
you
you
got to
need to
get
weigh it
them
up.
gels. You got to measure, like you got to open a gel. Say there's 30 grams of carbs in a gel. You got to get, and it's like weighs, and say the gel weighs like 40 grams. Then you're like, I'm gonna have 80 plus like 19.8 maybe. So you're gonna have like 99.8 grams in one, and then you're gonna take that 0.4 out, and then you're gonna get that in the bin or something, or give it to your dog, and then you're gonna put the other two gels next to it.
If you put too much in there, you're going to have gut problems.
Yeah, you don't want to have the 75, your 74.8, because he will only tell you, I told you 1 gram for 1 kilo. You didn't stick to it.
You probably overweight yourself, or you haven't calibrated the scale.
Yeah.
So that was the age group advice of this week. Instagram.
You didn't have any more. I was hoping there was going to be a few more questions.
Oh yeah, but
like,
if we're doing two Instagram posts of the week, we don't see that much silly stuff around like every week, so we need to be careful.
By the way, have you seen, a bit random, but have you seen the Tyson Fury documentary?
Nope.
That's a really good one, mate. You should check that out. Not quite. I don't know if I'd say it's as good as the Bex one, but it's definitely pretty good. Like I think you'd like that. That's a good one if you're doing some training sessions as well, guys. You know, and you want to watch something on Zwift when you're stuck in the northern hemisphere, like me and Tom, contemplating life, wondering is it worth listening to people talk about FTPs, and you think I'm going to listen to Tyson Fury instead. Like that is very interesting. Like because I didn't. They follow him when he retires. So,
Yeah.
and I guess they've said we're going to follow you for 6 months, but he struggles with so much depression, like lows from like quitting the sport and retiring and like not having his identity as a boxer that they
Hmm.
follow him, and then he ends up making the return where he's like, actually, I need to come back. I have to do this. You know, it's like an addiction. I think that's the same with like a lot of us, isn't it? You know, like you would try and step away from triathlon but you just couldn't do it, could you? You know, you just have to do something, don't you? You know, something
Yeah.
like, you know, and it really interesting following him and seeing how he copes with trying to retire and then him making the decision to come back. And obviously his missus is like, you said you were going to retire. He's got bloody 6, 7 kids, something like that, running around at home. Like the house is carnage. You should see it.
Hmm.
But it's really, really interesting.
Okay.
Like I definitely
Oh well.
recommend that.
This was Joe's Netflix tip of the week.
My Netflix
Um,
tip of the week, yeah.
we'll head over to the
I've had a
Instagram.
lot. I've had a lot of time since Monday.
We've had a, we're having an Instagram post of the week.
Go on in. What is it?
You found it.
Did I?
It's the double.
Oh, the double Garmin. I
Yeah.
found the I saw the picture, but I saw that you were the one that spotted it, mate. Like your
Yeah.
Hawk guys were like double Garmin. That is a total flex.
That's a
Like
flipping flex.
that's a flex. Like
A
when a
pretty
Phoenix
serious
isn't
athlete.
enough, you got the Phoenix and you got the Forerunner and you got the latest models, and they're like flipping heck. Like this guy is either quick as fuck. They're double uploading Strava runs, you know, and stuff, or they're just flexing, you know, that they're into sport. You know, I mean,
What would
like
be would be in your opinion the key reason to wear two watches? Would it be like, all right, I'm going on a 150K run, I'll need two watches because the battery will run out, or what is it?
it's in my mind the kind of thing an ultra athlete would do. You know, like and someone that does the ultra runs where they're running on multi terrain because you got your right arm gets better satellite in some areas because of the rocks on the left
Yeah,
sheltering the
true.
satellite, and you're out there for a long time. And then when you're on the other side of the ridge, your left arm gets better signal, and you're out
Yeah.
there. You sometimes you're running through the
And
night. The stars can't block the signal and everything, so you
what I
need
think
to position it.
I think what the biggest reason is, you always see that some watches overread. You're just hoping that it's one of the two. So you're just
Oh,
loading the
that
both up on Strava, and then
That
you'll
is
see what the quickest
such a
is.
good point because if I was running with two Garmins, what one am I going to upload? Well, it ain't going to be the fucking one that says the less distance, is it? It's going to be the
Exactly.
one that like says that I've run as quick and as far as I have in the same time, and that's the one that's going to get uploaded. The other one is going to be discarded, isn't it? You know, that is
Yeah,
a great one. Like if I do an Ironman and one of them says 42.2 and the other one says 41.9, it's a no brainer. What one I'm going to
exactly.
upload? I ain't going to upload the 41.9, am I? You know,
Exactly. That's a no-brainer. That is a no-brainer.
that is a great one.
What would you
So
do, by the way? Would you rather have an Ironman run
what's that?
41.9K with an average heart rate of, let's say, just very low, and then a quick Ironman?
Oh, sorry, I
Or,
just lost. I lost your signal there. I didn't hear that then.
all right, would you rather have a watch on your wrist with 41.9Ks on the marathon, but a very, very low heart rate, so it looks like an easy run in the park? Or let's say a 40.2K, or a 42.2K, but a flipping high heart rate?
Flipping high heart rate,
Exactly.
42.2. Yeah,
That's
I
also a
would.
flex. High heart rate, isn't it, during the
Well,
marathon?
yeah, and you just blame it on like you just say, "Oh, I wasn't using a heart rate monitor. The Garmin was reading shit." Basically, don't you?
Yeah.
That's what everyone says, don't they? Like, oh, because you get it on your comments. Oh, your heart rate was so high for this session. Yeah, but it wasn't with a heart rate band, so you can't take that. You know, really, you're
Yeah.
probably like thinking, "Fuck," like holding on at the end of the session, like you know, because you know what then people are like. They do like an interval session. They're like recovery run. You can imagine they're like someone's like, "Your heart rate was a lot higher for this recovery run than normal." And they're like at the end holding on something, trying to keep them up because they're like literally going to fall over with cramps. Oh, yeah, it was the Garmin that was overreading it. Honestly, it was so easy. I've got really fit recently.
Yeah. Have we got some last minute tips for me, Joe, for Ironman Cozumel? Like, I need to do it for the dogs, for the last one this season, and for the first one as well.
Last
Um,
minute tips. I would say If we're talking, are we talking race tips or like
Yeah, also build-up tips. 33 degrees, 90% humidity, mozzarella body.
suntan factor 50, mate? Definitely for you.
But do you know
That's
what I always find the contradiction? If I use a lot of suntan lotion, then I am protected from the heat or from the sun. But then the suntan also blocks your
oh, you get so hot, you
you
sweat
get
like
so hot and you
yeah,
sweat like shit, you know. So then
yeah.
I've got like a 15 liter an hour sweat rate.
You need it. You need it like pre-race, mate. But like in the days leading up for definite, and then for the race, you'll have to look like one of them people that wears them hats with the white bit, going down their back,
I
and
have
like the
I've been
white arm
thinking
warmers.
I've been thinking about getting the white arm warmers. I'm not shitting you. I've looked at it today. I've looked
You'll
at it
look like
today.
that's what you see the people that are doing them ultra runs through Death Valley, don't you? Like they have all that stuff.
Yeah, but to be fair, I have done some races. One of them is Kona. One of them is where I'm out in the heat for so long, and I've just got such light skin that I can feel at some point the sun constantly burning in my skin, like literally like burning, and
Yeah,
that is
I don't
just
really get that. Like
yeah,
I'm quite lucky
exactly.
I've got darker skin, haven't I? So, but then yeah,
But then
I mean,
that's why I would rinse people their asses in 10 degrees in rain, like
yeah.
Cork back in the days. It's just a shame that not a lot of Ironmans have these conditions.
Yeah, when didn't you smashed it in Cork that day, didn't you? Weren't you like what position would you have been? You were racing as an age grouper, but weren't you up there amongst the pros as well?
Fifth, yeah,
Fifth, like you would have been in the money, wouldn't you? You would have got a
yeah, I
paycheck,
would have,
wouldn't you?
yeah.
Like as an amateur as well. I bet that was such minging conditions. Weren't all the Spaniards like pulling out because they were like freezing?
I think one Spaniard finished and he lived up in Norwich.
I mean, not being funny, but if a Spaniard or someone from a hot country said to me they were doing Cork, I would say to them, mate, I don't think that's going to be the race for you. Like, the weather's probably going to be fucking horrible. And if you're very lucky, it will just be slightly cold. Um,
also, also, we could do a heat prep, but they can do a cold prep.
I couldn't think of anything worse than forcing yourself to train in like freezing cold conditions in
Yeah,
like not enough clothes. Could you?
but also it is different to so they could, for example, sit in a room with the aircon on 10 degrees, but it's different, isn't it?
It is different. You need to be out there in the rain, experience like getting covered in shit as well, and like your eyes are like getting crap in, and you're like trying to get them out. And you go to a cafe and you're covered in wet, and they're looking at you like you're not going to come in here, are you? And sit down on these chairs, and
Yeah,
then you go,
and then as
"Hey, you
soon as
got a
you hop,
table for four?" And you just see them wince, like, "Oh no!" Like
we'll
them
be in here
sightless
for an
again.
hour,
Yeah.
and then when you walk outside, you're shivering like like a little bird.
The worst bit is when you start after a cafe stop in it, and you're like,
Oh, with the
"Oh
lactate up
no."
in your legs.
Do you know what I hate as well? This is one of the worst things, and you'll know this. You're on a winter's ride. It's a
Hmm.
nice day when you start off. You have a cafe stop, and you stop, and you've not got like a proper good rain jacket out because you thought, oh, it's a lovely day. You stop at the cafe, and then the weather turns, and it comes in real grey, and it's like pissing it down. It's horrible. It's 6 degrees, and you're like, oh no, we've got another 2 hours to ride like from the cafe now to get home, and it's like
Yeah.
horrible. Free, and then you start off. You're already cold because you normally have a bit of a burn up to the cafe, don't you, or something like that. So you're a bit
Hmm.
like sweaty anyway, and you're like, oh, I've got to step outside and start raining and riding in freezing cold conditions. I'm underprepared with clothes. This is going to be so grim. Like that's horrible, isn't it? Like the
Yeah.
mental, that's like a mental battle of what you get in an Ironman, isn't it? Like, oh, do I
Hmm.
call a cab or do I just ride? Do I just man up and ride home?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
you're a tip for Cozumel. I would say you're swimming quite well at the moment from the times that you're hitting. You just need to, I think, for that one, you just need to get a good start because one on them downstream
But
swims, they never break up once they start.
I know, but that's the thing. I don't have a very, very quick sprint. And I know that because in the pool, I always get beaten by a shitload of people during sprints.
What people are they? Females, males, kids,
Any
adults,
gender.
any gender? How
Yeah.
old are they?
Between 10 and 60.
So, so pretty much anyone apart from Arabella.
I haven't got a quick sprint. Yeah.
All right. Well, just uh, give it your best effort and just see what you do. Like
But
you've got the right tactician for the race anyway, so you've got that bit covered. And then
but
the run,
if you do the math, there's 60 people on the list, right? And you were saying the swim is so quick that the difference can only be like 4 minutes. If
tops,
everyone would
tops,
stay,
yeah.
a 12 meters in between, then it should actually be one big line, shouldn't it?
Well, not quite, because like 60 people at 12 meters would be 720 meters. So at 40 k's an hour, that'd be about a minute. So it's only a minute difference if you're all at like 12 meters.
I should be getting in a big group.
You should. There definitely will be a group, because I think it will be between 3 or 4 minutes. And then the run, I think your plan needs to just be 4:10 to 4:15 k's. And
4:10?
yeah, but that's like that's 3 minutes, 3 hours. What you want to run, isn't it? Like 4:10
4:10
to
is like
4:15.
2:55 and it's in Kona conditions, and I'm a bloody melting mozzarella. I was
I
I
thought
was
you're going for
thinking,
sub 3. You're going for sub 3, aren't you?
oh, not in these conditions.
Are you not? I thought the other
No,
day you said you were going for a sub 3.
no.
I thought my
Show me where
man,
I said that. No,
like
no,
I,
no, no. I
what are you
was
going
going
for
for
then?
up and around. I was thinking between 3 and 3:10.
Nah, fuck it, mate. You're good enough for a sub 3. I've got faith in you. 4:10s, mate. In it for life.
Know
Like
your own abilities.
get
Um,
get fit in the K hole, mate. Get fit or get fucked. Like I've got every confidence in you, like to do it. The people
I
we're watching you. I'm,
I
I'm
do really look forward to it, to be honest.
I mean, I'm out for the season, so all my hopes are pinned on you, and I believe 4:10s are in it. You've got to do it for the dogs.
I
Come
have
on,
got to
man.
do it for the dogs.
Come on, man.
I'll
4:10s.
start off at 3:45.
The old Tom that I would have known would have started off at 3:45s, and by the end he would have been 4:45s. Like,
Have we got a bullshit buster? Oh, we have.
uh,
We have.
have we?
Yes. Um, the Big Mets FTP test.
And how's it looking? Is what, because I said to him about Battle of the Influencers, and I think he gets a bit like hit up about it. Like I don't think he's too happy about us saying that, because he's like, when I
I
said
don't
to
think.
him Battle of the Influencers, he was like, "Well, you can do it as well. You're the biggest influencer." I said, I thought, well, thanks. Like that's a nice compliment.
You're
Like
saying that
I'm
he
glad that
can't
you
take a
consider me
joke.
as an influencer, and I'll be up for that. But maybe we could even get Lionel to as well. Like Oceanside 70.3, mate. If you're up for it.
But he had a YouTube video. So all the influencers are on YouTube, and he's one of them as well. And he said FTP test, which I think is clickbaity, because if you say FTP test, you need to do a flipping FTP test, and then it was like a sprint and a 3-minute test. Yeah, I think that's clickbaity.
Yeah, it's not really like what you'd class as like a proper FTP test. Like you were thinking, I know what you were hoping. You were hoping he was going to be doing something like the 4DP, and you could see him suffer through and
Exactly.
see
I
what he
want
was
to see
doing.
him suffer like a dog, and I want to see the numbers.
Yeah, I would if I see someone put an FTP test, I want to at least see some big suffering. But like it's 3 minutes. I mean, like by the time it's hurting, you've got 90 seconds left, really, haven't you?
3 minutes, you can do that every time of the day, even if you're in the K hole. Right?
So would you say it was false advertising on the video? Like, he's saying he's going to show you his FTP, but he doesn't, does he? He does a VO2 max effort.
It is false advertising. That's what it is. Clickbaity. And that's what influencers do, isn't it?
They do. They always like, you'll never guess what I did. Like something like that, don't they? Oh, look what happened here.
I took 10 gels for 10 days in a row, and you never guess what happened to my body.
You'll never guess how I ended up in the K-hole on Sunday. ... It wasn't what you expected. This wasn't how I expected my season to end.
Anyway, mate, this is it for this week.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. This isn't it for this week, because we had 2 this week. You never know what you're going to get. Anyway, thanks for listening, my dogs. Head over to the link in the description to show us your support. Jody, take care of your health, mate. And
Nice one.
Is there a holiday coming up?
Hopefully, Laura needs to just feel a bit better as well, and I just need to get that final test done. Of like, as soon as we get that done, and she's feeling better, then yeah, hopefully somewhere. But we just got to see how it goes, really.
You could come over to Amsterdam.
I want to go somewhere warm, mate. Like at least before the winter, I want to get some sun before I batten down the hatches.
All right, I'll see you next week.
Bye.